There's no place like Kansas. There's no place like Kansas. There's no place like Kansas. Hey, you all. Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the great state of Kansas. More specifically, we're in the small town of Wamego, Kansas. And just 2 days ago, I was in Beach Mountain, North Carolina at the Land of Oz, a Wizard of Oz themed amusement park. Only open 3 weekends out of the year. I do try to get out there when I can. I was able to take Jen with me. It was her first time. That was on her bucket list of things she wanted to do. And we had an amazing time at the Land of Oz. And they kept talking about getting back to Kansas. Kansas being this wonderful place. Oz itself, a wonderful place, full of flying monkeys, yellow brick roads, singing munchkins. But Dorothy, what she really wanted is to go home, back to the great state of Kansas. And I myself have been wanting to get to the great state of Kansas. I was here a couple months ago, but I wanted to return to Kansas because I am trying to visit every state fair in the United States, and I hear that Kansas has a wonderful state fair. They actually incorporate the state fair into the movie, into the book Wizard of Oz. The wizard himself, he flew a hot air balloon from the state fair to Oz. It was actually the Nebraska State Fair. We'll do that some other time. Right now we're focusing on the Kansas State Fair and just hearing about this wonderful place of Kansas while I was at the Land of Oz. I knew that I had to click my heels together, click the heels of my Ruby Crocs, and be teleported back to Kansas so that we can enjoy the state fair. But first, I have not gotten Oz out of my system. The Wizard of Oz, the greatest movie ever made. There, I said it out loud. It is the greatest movie ever made. And here in Kansas, they fully recognize that. They fully respect that and have some great Wizard of Oz related attractions. So please, follow me. And as we walk down the delightful downtown area of Wamego, Kansas, look who we have here. It's Toto. A little Toto there. See, this is actually Wamegoscape 2 Toto. He has the landscape of Wamego. You can see all the farms, the barns there, populating this visage of Toto. Here on Main Street, they have their own yellow brick road. The Land of Oz at Beach Mountain. We walked along the yellow brick road, but I can never get enough of yellow bricks. There we have Emerald City Toto right there. The bright colors of the Emerald City. And as we walk down this yellow brick road, it tells us the tale of the wonderful Wizard of Oz, a tribute to L. Frank Baum. See, of course, the tornado that picked up Dorothy's house. The no good Mrs. Gulch flying after she kidnapped poor innocent Toto there. But fortunately, Dorothy is not killed in the tornado, is not ripped to pieces, is not smashed to a pulp. She lands in the friendly Munchkin City here, where she makes some of the best friends she'll ever make in her life, befriending the Scarecrow, who believes that he lacks brains, but truly he is the smartest member of their team, the most resourceful. She meets the Tin Woodsman, who believes himself to have no heart, but truly is the most caring, is the most passionate member of their group. And finally, she meets the Cowardly Lion, who believes himself to have no courage. And actually, he's right. He doesn't have any courage. He's scared. He's literally scared of everything. But he works on that. He builds on that. Oh, look at that. We have reached the Emerald City. The beautiful Emerald City. Oh, look at this. Look at this Toto here. He dressed up as the Wizard of Oz himself. This is Wizard Toto. And he is there taking the hot air balloon back to Wamego. And over here we have almost a shrine to the Wizard of Oz. You can see people have left apples in ruby slippers, red, sparkly shoes. Some little lions down there. All the things having to do with Oz. Even some poppies. But here, right in the center of Wamego, they have this, the Oz Museum. You can see that wonderful emerald-colored building there. You can see the flying monkeys congregating outside, clinging to the rafters, inviting us inside. Oh, there's another Toto. We have Totos all around town here. This is, I guess, Poppy Toto from the field of poppies. Oh, there's one more Toto down this way. Oh, this is another Toto that's meant to look like the town of Wamego. But I think without further ado, we're going to have to head in to the Oz Museum. But I guess first things first, we need to experience the tornado. All right, we get inside the tornado.
This is a message from the emergency broadcast.
It shows how fast the winds are going. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Oh, they're really loud. My hat's gonna blow away. There's 60 mile per hour winds here in Oz. All right. How many miles per hour does it take to pick up a house? Slow it down here. Easing back down into Oz. Alright, did we make it? I think we made it. I think we've made it to Oz. And as we enter here, buy our tickets here at Dorothy's house, and then enter right there through the front porch.
We'll see you on the other side.
All
There's
right.
no place like home.
Oh, thank you. And here we go. Start here in Oz with Dorothy and Toto. She's landed in the Munchkin village here. You can see here we exit through Dorothy's house. Of course, we entered Dorothy's on the other side when we did. The house was pristine. You can see now it's damaged with tornadoes, branches on the top. Of course, Dorothy'd come out and be introduced to the Munchkins, who are all hiding. They were all afraid of her. Let's see her trademark ruby slippers, which actually in the original book were silver slippers. But when they made the movie, they wanted to take advantage of the new color technology and have them really pop on the screen. And of course, with her house, she crushes the Wicked Witch of the East, who we only ever see by her stockings. And of course, she is the original owner of the ruby slippers. There is the mayor of the Munchkin City, who welcomes Dorothy. Now the museum kind of takes us through a chronological history of everything Wizard of Oz related. We start out with L. Frank Baum, the author of the original books. As you see, a lot of books, a whole series of books there. But this is the one that started it all here. This is a first edition copy of the wonderful Wizard of Oz. You can see the Cowardly Lion there on the front of the book. Of course, the movie, just a small sample of the books. You can see the map of Oz there. Close, you can see the Emerald City in the very, very middle there. The green to the right of it is Munchkinland. So that's where the movie takes place. You see all these other lands where further adventures take place. There's a board game there that has the map of Oz. Of course, so that's Munchkin County there to the right, where Dorothy lands, and they make their way to the Emerald City, and the Winky County there, where the Winky Guards come from, that the witch enslaves. The oh-wee-oh, yo-ho. This is an Ozmite Club pin. See the pin there? The Ozmite Club was a book club for fans of the Oz books. It existed only between 1926 and 1928. If you remember, you could get one of these badges and meet with other people who wanted to discuss the Oz books. This is interesting here. Talks about L. Frank Baum actually moving to Aberdeen, South Dakota, where there actually is a Wizard of Oz park there as well. But he opened up a general store called Baum's Bazaar. And when I was just at Beach Mountain for the Land of Oz, the gift shop in Kansas was called Baum's Bazaar. So I didn't know that was taken from a real thing. That's very interesting. And it talks here about how L. Frank Baum actually wrote quite a few books. He was most famous for the Oz books, but that did not stop him from branching out, writing other books and series that we can see here. Before becoming a movie, Oz was a stage play. You can see a photograph of the Scarecrow there from the 1903 stage play. And actually, believe it or not, the Wizard of Oz, the Judy Garland Wizard of Oz, not the first Oz movie. There actually is several, I think more than one Wizard of Oz movie that came out prior to that. And do yourself a treat. When you're done with these videos, go watch some of the Wizard of Oz movies on YouTube that were made before the classic, and they are something else, I'll tell you what. Wow, here's some fascinating information that I did not know until just now, and that is that the Emerald City from the books inspired, not by a state fair, but by a World's Fair, the 1893 Columbian Exposition in Chicago. The White City, the legendary White City from the 1893 Columbia Exposition was the inspiration for the Emerald City. So the Emerald City basically is Chicago in a way. Of course, lots of things happened at the Columbia Exposition. The Ferris wheel debuted. The pressed penny debuted. H.H. Holmes debuted. But legendary. There's still some few structures left from the White City that they created for the exposition. This is kind of the fair of fairs of all the world's fairs that occurred in the United States. This probably the most spectacular, and that the most reach, and still things from this fair resound today. And it inspired the Emerald City, which I just truly find fascinating. I can't believe I didn't know that until now. Of course, The Wizard of Oz now in the public domain, at least the original books. And my belief is that it has kind of become American folklore, right alongside Paul Bunyan and Johnny Appleseed. Wizard of Oz is American folklore, but it's also popular in other places in the world. In fact, everywhere else in the world, you can see different versions here from different countries, remade in different languages, books published in different languages here. See Hello Kitty there. Now apparently she's not a cat, but she is a Dorothy. Whole section talking about the Munchkins. You see the cookie jar, shaped like the mayor of the Munchkin City. These gloves here, these tiny, tiny gloves worn by Nitka Krubbs in 1948. She was a member of the Lullaby League, one of the groups of Munchkins. Of course, there was the Lullaby League and the Lollipop Guild. I remember I was obsessed with the Lollipop Guild when I was a kid. Every time I watched the movie, I listened really hard because I couldn't understand what they were saying. I thought they were saying Lollipop Club, but every time I listened, I'm like, they're not saying club. What are they saying? I didn't know the word guild back then, but you see it right there printed on the lollipop. Lollipop Guild. What did they do in the Lollipop Guild? Now, one of my favorite characters in The Wizard of Oz is the Munchkin coroner. His appearance is so striking. He just comes out of nowhere. His song is so strange and wonderful. His accent is so unique. It just always struck me. But here we have where they actually gave him a honorary. They appointed him the special deputy coroner for Shawnee County in Kansas. This is Meinhard Raab, who played the Munchkin coroner from The Wizard of Oz. Actually put the lyrics to the song right there on the proclamation. As coroner I must aver, I thoroughly examined her, and she's not only merely dead, she's really most sincerely dead. So he actually got appointed as an actual coroner because of his experience in the movie. And right there is a certificate of death put out by the state of Kansas for the Wicked Witch of the Wicked Witch of the East. It's her actual official certificate of death put out by the state of Kansas. You can read the details here. It says contributing causes of importance not related to principal cause, would be flying on a broomstick, thumbing for a hitch. So yeah, an official document there documenting the death of the Wicked Witch of the East. This thing is genius. It says burial, cremation, or removal place is where the goblins go. These are costumes worn by the Munchkins when they made public appearances. It's the Dorothy section here. It's the Dorothy cookie jar. Different types of Dorothy dolls. And over here, this is not the Dorothy dress, but they do have an actual swatch of the dress there, framed there. It is a authentic piece of the Dorothy dress taken from a dress much like this. It's a copy of Judy Garland's birth certificate there. Her name is actually not Judy Garland, but Frances Gum. She had it changed as a stage name. Now, I did visit the Judy Garland birthplace in Minnesota. Unfortunately, I was in a massive hurry. I showed 10 minutes before closing. Actually, I think it might have been closer than that. So I basically ran through the house, ran through the museum. Definitely need to make it back out there at some point. And oh yeah, these are not the real ruby slippers either. Those are very rare. They have ruby slippers in the Smithsonian, ruby slippers at the Academy Museum. And it actually was a pair of ruby slippers that were at the Minnesota Museum. Those got stolen. They did recover them, but I don't know where their current whereabouts are. You can see Dorothy's friends as we travel throughout the museum. The scarecrow there, thinking, kind of in the thinker's pose there. Even though he may not have had a brain, he sure did a lot of thinking. Some information here on the early production of the film. Interesting things to note that W.C. Fields originally was supposed to play the Cowardly Lion. In fact, Burt Lahr was only the third choice to play the lion. But, you watch that movie and you really feel like no one else could play the lion. He was the perfect choice. And yeah, I just can't imagine anyone else playing the lion. Here's a screen-used Munchkin outfit. And it's when you watch these scenes like the Munchkin City or the Emerald City, you just realize how many different costumes there are, how much different makeup and just how immersive it is, and just what a huge production it is. So next time I watch, I'll keep an eye out for this costume. See the quilt there hanging on the wall with all the different scenes sewn into the edges, almost like Dorothy's own Stations of the Cross. And here's just a lot of the Wizard of Oz merchandise from over the years, like the Barbie characters here. We got Dorothy, Glinda, the Friends of Dorothy there. Look at the troll dolls. Troll dolls of all the different characters. Again, I always have a really soft spot for the flying monkeys. Generally consider that to be my favorite characters there. It's the flying monkey with the winky guard. There's a toy showboat here, and they actually put on, looks like a showboat where you can put on the Wizard of Oz play. Look at the Wicked Witch there standing on top of the showboat. It's a cloth set of the characters there, and a very robotic Tin Man. Wizard of Oz doodle dolls, where I guess you can make your own characters out of yarn. Puzzles there. The Viewmasters, oh man, I loved Viewmasters when I was a kid. See the magical 3D images. Now leave a comment in the comment section if you remember this, but apparently there was a brand of peanut butter, Wizard of Oz, it's Swift's Oz peanut butter here. You can see the different jars there. I guess you get a big bucket of peanut butter if you're extra hungry. There's the Ice-Capades Wizard of Oz. Now I don't remember the Wizard of Oz Ice-Capades, but I remember back when I was a kid, the Ice-Capades was a big deal. I remember like you could see Disney on ice. I remember the Smurfs on ice was a big deal. Actually, yeah, I went and now that I said that out loud, I did go see the Smurfs on ice. It was always a big deal when the Ice-Capades came to town and put on ice skating shows based on popular characters. And down there we've got Land of Oz soapy characters. Let's see them all as bars of soap. Although the wizard kind of looks like Colonel Sanders. That's pretty funny, that shirt. Air Dorothy. Yo, Dorothy. It's got to be the shoes. Because, like I think that was a commercial they said with Michael Jordan. It's got to be the shoes. Because he sold shoes, Air Jordans. But Dorothy's all about shoes, too, because she has her magic ruby slippers. We got the Tin Man here. He was caught out in the rain, rusted in place until Dorothy came, found the oil can, and used that to loosen him up and release him from his rusted state, which would be very, very hellish to just be conscious but stuck in a rusted state. Also, those apples that come from the very, very grumpy trees. The First National Bank of Wamego here has exhibit on some of the special effects in the movie, and they actually just is mind-blowing what they were able to do at that time. These special effects still hold up to this very day. You can see the tornado there, which was just a cloth sheet wrapped and spinning. When I was a kid, I assumed that they had used real footage of a tornado. It just looked so terrifying and realistic. And they actually have a real miniature from the film. This is the Gale farmhouse there. They said it was actually dropped to make it look like it was falling, and then they reversed the film to make it look like it was being sucked up into the tornado. But that's truly amazing that was one of the original props used in the film. Now it says these are photos of some of the props they have here. They said they do have them, but they're too fragile to put on display. They are miniatures of the flying monkeys. So like when they would have the show the monkeys flying in the background, it would be the little miniatures here. They actually have them, but I guess they're just too fragile to be exposed to the light out here. Man, I'd love to be able to see one of those for myself. Now, we actually just watched the movie the other day after we came home from the Land of Oz, and I was asking Jen this scene right here where they write "Surrender, Dorothy." I'm like, do you think they really used like a skywriter to do that? I thought maybe they did. Apparently not. They said it was in a watery tub, and they used like injected ink into water to make it look like skywriting. They just got so ingenious back then with how they did things. Said to make the Tin Man do his tooting effect, they filled a funnel full of talcum powder and compressed air and put it on his head during the dance scene. Said they would pad the ruby slippers so that she could walk on the yellow brick road without making too much noise. Says these are not the actual shoes used. And then here is one of the massive spotlights used on the set. It's a scarecrow corner here. It's a scarecrow nutcracker. All these different versions of the scarecrow. And there is Ray Bolger's Passport, who played the scarecrow, of course. Now it says here that when he was playing the Tin Man, that the makeup had actually left permanent tattoos on his face, on his cheeks, and his corner of his mouth and his chin. They left lines from the scarecrow makeup, so he was permanently disfigured from being in the film. So he went with the rest of his life, and you can actually find pictures online where you can see that the scarecrow makeup did stay on his face. Pretty much everyone in the movie had just a horrible time. I almost hate to read about it because all the four main actors, Dorothy, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, the Lion, it just absolutely went through a living hell creating this magnificent movie. It makes me a little sad. Of course, the original Tin Man almost died because of the makeup was toxic. Apparently the Scarecrow makeup dyed his face permanently. The Lion was wearing a 100-pound suit made out of real lion. Just really people that absolutely suffered for their craft. Yeah, there's the original Tin Man, Buddy Ebsen, who was horribly poisoned with aluminum powder from the original makeup. Buddy Ebsen is Jed Clampett. I never made the connection before, but yes, Jed Clampett was originally supposed to play the Tin Man until he was poisoned by aluminum powder, and they just sort of moved on without him while he was in the hospital. The Tin Man marionette there. And the Lion, played by Burt Lahr. It says here that when the original critics talked about the movie, they pointed out the Lion as being the highlight, and it really is. I've seen the movie a million times. I love all of it, but if you do stop and pay attention to the Lion's performance, in some ways it does totally make the movie. I know it is Jen's favorite character, the Cowardly Lion. She dressed up as the Cowardly Lion when we went to the Land of Oz. This section provided by the International Wizard of Oz Club. We have the board game section, all these different Wizard of Oz themed board games from different countries. In addition to having unique board games, there are some Wizard of Oz branded board games like Wizard of Oz Scrabble or Wizard of Oz Monopoly. And back here in the back of the museum, we have the theater, the Wizard of Oz Theater. And we have handprints in the cement, different people involved with the movie have left their handprints here. Here's Clarence Swenskin, who was a Munchkin soldier there. And of course, this theater here, it only plays one movie, and I'll give you one guess to what that is. Uh-oh. Don't eat those apples, Dorothy. It's a special exhibit dedicated to Olga Nordone, who was the smallest Munchkin. It says that she was under 3 feet tall, a very, very small, tiny person. See her dress there, her shoes. And she was a vaudeville performer in addition to being in The Wizard of Oz. Her makeup there, her costume trunk, her tiny little costume trunk with her tiny little costumes, and her little chair there. Olga the dancing doll. Says she played two parts. She was both seen being a sleepyhead, you know, when they say, "Wake up, you sleepyhead," and then she was also in the Lullaby League. And the final friend of Dorothy to join the journey, the Cowardly Lion. Again, I said this is Jen's favorite character, and her favorite part of the movie is when he sings "King of the Forest." It's interesting to know, you know, like I said, the critics said the lion was the highlight of the movie. He is the only character of the three, of the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion. He's the only one that gets his own song. They all sing the same song, If I Only Had a Blank, but he gets his own full song, King of the Forest. Uh-oh, things are about to get spooky here. So we head into the haunted forest, Witch's Castle. I'd turn back if I were you. Is there going to be a witch lurking around here somewhere? This is actually really spooky. I'm half expecting a jump scare. Oh, there's that creepy owl. There she is. There's the witch. The witch. Now, let me just say, I was terrified of the witch. My siblings were terrified of the witch. My brother was so scared of the witch, he would go watch from the kitchen when the Wicked Witch was on. Truly one of the most terrifying movie villains of all time. And just Margaret Hamilton did just an amazing job of being absolutely terrifying. I watched it just 2 days ago, and just an absolute chilling, you know, she pretty much turns it into a horror movie. And we are in the witch's castle. Fortunately, it looks like the lion and his friends have already snuck in here. They've stolen the clothing from the Winky Guards and have come to rescue Dorothy. And there she is, the Wicked Witch once again. Again, one of the, probably, you know what, underrated. Definitely, she should be one of the top horror villains of all time. And of course, I always have a soft spot for the flying monkeys. I absolutely love their design. Just so unique, so colorful, so unusual. And I learned something else recently, and that is, you know, the monkey that is here with the witch, the monkey that the witch talks to, is a character. His name is in the credits. They don't speak his name, but his name is Nico. And then an interesting thing, there's so many like little things I've noticed in the movie, and I go back and research. You notice Nico's wings are shorter than the rest of the flying monkeys. He's the leader of the flying monkeys, but the witch has cut his wings as a way of controlling the flying monkeys. So he is a prisoner, much like Dorothy, and she forces him to make the monkeys do his or her bidding, rather. And another thing that's interesting is the monkeys actually in the book are summoned through a golden hat that you can use to summon the monkeys to your advantage 3 times. The magic hat. Now, the magic hat is actually in the movie, but it is not referenced. Again, they're seen, Nico and the witch are seen with the hat in their hands. It is never explained what it is, but if you go to the book, it is the magic cap used to summon the flying monkeys. So yeah, there's just so many layers, so much stuff going on that you don't even necessarily pick up on it. And then, and also in these scenes, the witch mentions that she sent a little insect ahead to slow down the group. Turns out that is a reference to a cut scene where she sent a jitterbug that forced them to do a ridiculous dance. Now it says over here, to begin your experience, please select a bubble in Oz to view in the crystal ball. Let's see what the lion is up to.
What a climb. I'm
Oh.
scared of heights. I'm glad my tail held out. You mean Dorothy's in there? We gotta get her out of the castle. Alright, come on. I'll be gentle. I don't care about a wicked witch.
Wow. Let's see. This one's a mystery. Let's see what the mystery is. Oh no, it's me. The witch, the witch is watching my every move in her crystal ball. Leave me alone. Don't sick your flying monkeys on me. See Mrs. Gulch there, the human form of the Wicked Witch. The Wicked Witch cookie jar. Now, often you hear people talk about how people back in the day just looked a little older than they do. And you see this picture of Margaret Hamilton being cast for Wizard of Oz. She was 36 years old when she was in the Wizard of Oz. When she played Mrs. Gulch, she was 36 years old. Younger than I am now. Significantly younger than I am now. Witches there, and the iconic hourglass. Another question me and Jen had was, what exactly was going to happen? The witch just flipped the sand over and said, "This is how long you have to live." Why didn't she just kill her right there? What happened when the sand ran out? Was the witch just gonna stab her, or was the sand going to kill her? I don't know. There's a lot of there's a few plot holes. And this is amazing. Still, it takes me back to see anything that was actually in the movie. This sconce here actually used in the witch's castle and is shown in the movie. There's one of the Winky guards. Again, they never say Winky in the movie, but the characters are called the Winky guards. Just always remember the O-E-O, yo-ho. And this here, the spear that this Winky guard is holding, that is an actual spear from the movie as a replica costume. But yeah, you can see the detail of the costume. I always kind of liked how there was kind of matched the flying monkeys just a little bit, kind of the basic design. Now here's an alternate Winky costume. This was used in the Andrew Lloyd Webber stage play of The Wizard of Oz. And here we have some toys and models of the Winky guards and flying monkeys. See grabbing Dorothy there. The monkey cookie jar. This Munchkin house here was actually used in the Muppets Wizard of Oz, which actually, admittedly, I have never seen. Is that something I should check out? Leave a comment in the comments section if I should check out the Muppets Wizard of Oz. I don't think I'm familiar with this either. This is a cartoon based on the Wizard of Oz called Off to See the Wizard. You can see some of the merchandise they produced for Off to See the Wizard. Does anyone remember Off to See the Wizard? You can see the Wizard of Oz magic kit there. And there's the Off to See the Wizard board game. Now, I adore this movie, Return to Oz, the sequel to Wizard of Oz. And man, this movie scared the dickens out of me when I was a kid. And I'll tell you what, you show this movie to your kids, it will cause them trauma. It will scar them for life. But I love every minute of it. Some really scary stuff in this movie, but also just some really creative, amazing ideas. Between the Wheelers and the witch that switches her head around. Yes, permanently scarred, but it was worth it. Jack Pumpkinhead from the movie, and they have some actual props. And this is so cool. The key there, like you see, the key says Oz. That was used in the movie by Faruka Balk when she opened up the room where Tick-Tock was. Tick-Tock there. I love that character. Apparently, Tick-Tock was one of the first robots to ever appear in fiction, and there is the plate that's on the back of Tick-Tock. It explains the rules on how to keep him charged. He has to keep wound. His thinking, his moving, all has to be wound separately to keep him operating. Yeah, do yourself a favor. Go watch this movie, Return to Oz. It's amazing. Just don't let your kids see it. It's really scary. And of course, Glinda, the good witch, who always seems so sweet and charming, but I remember I read an article by a website, cracks.com, which used to be a really good website. It's kind of fallen in quality. But they put out this article arguing that Glinda was actually the villain of the movie, manipulating Dorothy. She put the shoes on Dorothy against Dorothy's will, basically creating an artificial beef between her and the Wicked Witch of the West, and basically used her as a way to kill the Wicked Witch of the West. Kind of a master plan, used Dorothy basically as an unwilling assassin. And when you watch the movie, it's really hard to argue against that point, that Glinda was insanely manipulative. In fact, she admits at the end that Dorothy could have left at any time, and using the ruby slippers. And when Dorothy asks why she was not told earlier, Glinda says, "Oh, you wouldn't have believed me," which is just really just kind of a hand wave excuse. She really kind of gaslit Dorothy. And it looks like we are making our way through the field of poppies to the gate of the Emerald City. Bell out of order. Please knock. As you enter the Emerald City here, we can see this gun here that was used as a prop. It says this was carried by one of the Emerald City soldiers, but instead of bullets, it had flowers. Some Glinda items there, as well as the wizard himself. Again, he got to Oz by flying a hot air balloon from the State Fair of Nebraska, which means, it makes me really want to go visit the Nebraska State Fair, but it's already passed for the year. Maybe next year we will hit the Nebraska State Fair. We saw these different cookie jars as we've made our way through the museum. It says these are valued at $1,500 a piece. But this wizard one is really cool because look at the back of his head. You see the horrifying green face on the back of his head. And the Wizard of Oz Puppet Theater, where you can put on your whole, your own little rendition of the Wizard of Oz. This little photo op here where you have the hot air balloon, then the basket of the balloon.
Those who created this work in the year of perfection of their I first saw the Wizard of Oz.
We're already in Kansas. I don't know where we're going. Wait a minute, where is the wizard? We saw all the other characters except the wizard. I do notice this green curtain. What? Oh, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. There we go. The wizard himself in two-dimensional form. Talk about some of the modern interpretations here in this room, including Tin Man on the Sci-Fi Channel, which I had such high hopes for. When they advertised this, I was pumped. It was like a modern take on the Wizard of Oz, a steampunk version of the Wizard of Oz, but man, I did not really like it. So I was disappointed. Yeah, Sci-Fi, stick to Sharktopus. Now, I do want to go back and watch this. I was a very small child when I saw this. I think it's time to check this out again. The Wiz, the African-American interpretation of the Wizard of Oz. It looks like the original version that had Michael Jackson as the Scarecrow, and it looks like there's been some more modern renditions of The Wiz. And these are from the Broadway play Wicked, which is actually, they have made a movie that's going to be coming out, a movie rendition of Wicked. I have not seen the play. I was looking forward to seeing the movie, although, man, it looks like there is a lot of CGI in it. But I've heard good things. Heard the good things about the Broadway show. Here are some props, some boots, some green spectacles there. It says that these pages were used in a classroom scene. It was this Oz the Great and Powerful. This was another one I was really looking forward to. I was really excited about. This was before I learned that nostalgia reboots are 99% disappointing. But the Oz the Great and Powerful, was so excited. Went to see it in the theater and was just, it was okay. And now, like, James Franco's in it, so, like, it wouldn't even be fun to give it a second chance. Because he's like a total creep. Legends of Oz in 3D, Dorothy's Return. A lot of times when there's a great movie that we all love, and you need your fill, you want your fill, of that movie. Most of the time, it's just good to go back and just watch that original movie. In fact, we could go do that right now. We could go sit in the Oz Theater and watch The Wizard of Oz. Which I know I'm probably not going to do it here today. I generally don't watch movies in theaters, but I will watch the movie many more times before I die. Not this one. Not Legends of Oz in 3D, but the original Wizard of Oz. And from the Emerald City, we exit to the gift shop. Got some t-shirts there. Got the Oz Museum with the flying monkey on it. And there's one with Dorothy and the Friends of Dorothy. And then some snarkier ones. Life hasn't been the same since that house fell on my sister. These are ruby slippers, but they're actual slippers, like to wear to bed, not for tap dancing. This is pretty amazing. In the gift shop here, right next to the restroom, they have this Godzilla-sized Tin Man here. Here they have the original Miracle Melting Witch. Apparently you can construct a witch and add water and melt her. It says you can do it over and over again. We have a little tornado in a jar there. We have dead witch themed pens. And here is some lip balm, like L. Frank Baum, the author of Wizard of Oz. It's lip balm. And it is 2024, which is the year of the pressed penny here on the Carpetbagger channel. And here at the Oz Museum in Wamego, Kansas, they have 4 amazing pressed pennies. You got the ruby slippers, you got Dorothy and the Friends of Dorothy, you got the flying monkey, and the hot air balloon. I do believe we need all these. And some wonderful Oz-themed pennies there. Especially love the flying monkey penny. An absolute amazing attraction out here in Wamego, Kansas. An ode to the greatest film ever made. So clicked the heels of my Ruby Crocs together and transported myself and my car out here to Kansas. We enjoyed the wonderful Oz Museum here in Wamego, but now it is time to get down to business. We have business to attend to. State Fair business. We are officially on a State Fair rampage. Tomorrow, we are going to be visiting the Kansas State Fair. Like I said, I've heard some good things about the Kansas State Fair. Some things I'm interested in checking out there. So that should be a good one, I'm hoping. And then before we get on to our next State Fair, I'm going to take a somewhat large detour. It's going to be a quick but long detour as we head into the state of Colorado, because I was just notified that something I've been trying to do for over a year, I have finally gotten the go on it. So we're going to be doing a little miniature dip into the state of Colorado for something I've been looking forward to for a great amount of time. From there, we headed to the New Mexico State Fair. From there, we're going to be heading back east. But before we get home, we're going to be hitting the Oklahoma State Fair. So 3 state fairs on this trip. And I got to rush home, kind of, because we definitely got to get home in time for the Mothman Festival. One of my favorite events. One of my favorite non-state fair events of the year. So a huge, packed itinerary in the upcoming weeks. Like I've said, this year we're going to have to take the motto, fairs before scares. I do have some plans for some haunts coming up. But this month is a lot of times going to be taken up with hunting down these remaining state fairs. And of course, wonderful festivals like Mothman. So I hope you guys stay tuned. Now, you just saw me get some pressed pennies there from the Oz Museum. If you would like your own pressed pennies, if you would like to get a Carpetbagger pressed penny there, currently on sale in the Etsy shop. We just got a brand new shipment of them in, so there should be plenty to go around. If you want a pressed penny, please check the description of this video. Go to the Etsy shop. It really helps out the channel. Also, other things down there in the Etsy shop. Also, some stickers, including the very popular Carpetbagger sticker. Also selling the enamel pins in there. And of course, there's always Patreon. $3 or more. Get your postcard once a month from me to you on Patreon. Doing personalized messages on Cameo. Sending out private messages to you, your friends, your family members. If you're interested in any of that, all those things are in the description of this video. And all those things help keep this train on the track, this boat in the water, and this flying monkey in the air. Until next time, my friends, this one's in the bag.